What's up, chat? It's Chadronius here. As usual, I'd like to shout out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Chadronius. I stream a variety of games there, and I'd love to see you guys there. Also, if you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's start with the video. In the past few days, the Korean company Nexon, most notably known in the US for the game MapleStory, decided to falsely take down Ironmace's game, Darkanddarker, on the claims that the game was made through stealing assets and the use of trade secrets. If you guys don't know what Nexon is, you're not missing out on much. Like I said earlier, MapleStory was one of their biggest games in the US, and it was a wonderfully crafted game that started off lighthearted and slowly got darker in tone. They've also created Combat Arms, a first-person shooter based in modern times, and both games were ruined for me by excessive pay-to-win microtransactions, like stat boosts and god weapons that can only be bought with real cash. Also, most, if not all, developers from Ironmace Studios are ex-Nexon employees, which is why Nexon is deciding to claim that Ironmace has stolen assets that are used in this claim, and the reasons why they left will be explained in a bit. Ironmace has been active on their Discord and subreddit, keeping players informed of the things going on with the lawsuit, and I'll be reading some of what they posted to you. If you want to know more, go on and check out the Darkanddarker subreddit, and you'll see what they say for themselves. To start off, Ironmace says that Nexon states that according to their investigation, Darkanddarker appears to have been built and developed using trade secrets and copyrighted information copied and stolen from Nexon. We would like to show that these allegations are baseless. No copyrighted materials or misappropriated trade secrets from Nexon were used by Ironmace. In the takedown notice, Nexon lists registered copyrights pertaining to the P3 project, which were registered just last month, more than 6 months after Darkanddarker was revealed to the public as the subject of the alleged infringement. Pretty much what's being said is that Ironmace already had shown their game to the public and put it in public hands before Nexon even decided to copyright and trademark their P3 project, which shows that Nexon is retroactively attempting to punish Ironmace even though Nexon itself was behind the curve on their future product. Ironmace continues to say, "They accuse one of our members of acquiring and transferring key assets to its personal server without authorization, resulting in an unlawful transfer due to a mandatory remote work policy implemented by Nexon in response to a COVID-19 pandemic. The accused member received multiple written authorizations from executive members at Nexon from 2020 to 2021, allowing him to utilize an external personal server to improve the performance of his team. After utilizing the personal servers for almost a year, the accused member asked the leadership if it was okay to continue using his personal servers. The leaders told him to refrain from using the personal servers. The accused member agreed to take down the servers as long as he could maintain the performance of his team by having his programming team come to the office bypassing company-wide remote work policy. The accused member initiated the takedown of the personal servers, but due to the uncertainty of sporadic COVID waves, taking down the server in a quick and exhaustive manner was not a high priority. As a result, some automated scripts related to the build were left running on his personal server at the time. When the buildings next to his office were shut down due to confirmed COVID cases, he took a risk and fully set up his personal servers to aid in development. Since all company machines were monitored using a company-wide endpoint solution, the existence and usage of his personal servers, ones that were subject of approvals and reapprovals, must be reasonably known to Nexon over this multi-month period of development. Not a single warning was received from the security team, so it was easy to construe it as acknowledgement that his actions were acceptable. Otherwise, it would mean that Nexon would be failing at taking reasonable measures to maintain the confidentiality of their assets." Nexon here dropped the ball. The employee decided to ask for approval and was granted it. And when the approval was revoked, the employee followed company policy. If Nexon didn't want the ex-employee to continue working at home, they could have simply just notified the employee and they would have no doubt followed those orders. Ironmace even states that the security team had no issues with what was going on, and the employee received no warnings or notifications that they were doing anything wrong at that time. And Ironmace placed the blame squarely on Nexon's shoulders. To continue, the employee decided to leave Nexon in June 2021 due to a breakdown of trust with one of his superiors and due to the uncertain atmosphere at the company. His prior project was unceremoniously canceled after a well-received milestone presentation in 2020, and the numerous other projects around him were also canceled during the time. He made it clear that the reason for leaving was due to the uncertain atmosphere fostered at the company. He also made it clear that he'd likely pursue a project in the same genre as the P3 project, but explicitly clarified that any development would be made completely from scratch. This fact has been noted in witness testimony collected by the police investigating a separate personal lawsuit filed against the accused member by Nexon. Shortly after, Nexon's leadership became aware of the accused member's plans to leave the company. Instead of trying to resolve it in a professional manner, they abruptly sent the internal audit team and accused him of stealing files, despite having observed his personal server being used without notice for several months. Due to the harassment and lack of respect from the company, and after consulting his lawyers, he concluded that his private information on his private server was not subject to any record. So, he deleted his information to ensure his privacy. He was fired based on unproven claims, and subsequently sued by the company a month later, with liens placed on his home and other assets. His personal lawsuit is still ongoing, and the claims of stealing or misappropriating these files have not been substantiated. He has been fully cooperative with the investigation from the police, and has been the target of multiple search warrants. Ironmace has also been the subject of multiple search warrants during the investigation, and has been as accommodating as possible to speed up the process and prove no wrongdoing. The fact that 9 of 20 plus P3 project team members voluntarily left Nexon out of their own free will to join Ironmace, despite the inherent risks of joining a startup, shows that the trust that the accused member instills in his peers. So after the employee stated that he was unhappy with how things were going and being handled at the workplace, he decided to go and tell other employees his idea of making a new game entirely from scratch. Instead of offering solutions on how to make the employee feel heard and valued, they decided to can him and sue him for stealing company property, which that lawsuit is still ongoing, and the police have found nothing to validate those claims that Nexon has made. The entire situation could have been easily avoided if the higher-ups at Nexon decided to use their brains instead of being insufferable, which, let's be honest, most managers usually lack the ability to be empathetic and compromising in the situation. It's usually their way or the highway in my experience. This also shows that Nexon is a sue-happy corporation, and instead of parting ways amicably, their go-to strategy is just to straight up sue people that they deem a thorn in their side. Let's not forget that Nexon also decided to have the Korean police raid Ironmace's HQ, and after all was said and done, the search came up inconclusive. There were no stolen assets to be found on any of their databases. Nexon really does sound like a terrible place to work if they're just going to sue people for any reason, and they had the capital to do so, even if previous cases were found to be inconclusive at best and fraudulent at worst. Nexon also blatantly lies through their teeth by stating that they've never shown the P3 game to any third parties, and Ironmace quickly dispels that notion by posting 3 links showing that Nexon did, in fact, show off their games to many outlets such as Gamatsu, IR Pocket, and Donga. The Korean corporation also had the gall to say that there's no other game that had the concept, genre, or plot that they had, despite the fact that the concept of player versus enemy is quite popular, even though Escape from Tarkov has a very large fan base. And the genre is generic fantasy, and the plot is also generic, where you and 2 other people delve into a dungeon in search for riches. I don't mean to disparage Darkanddarker when I call it being generic in concept and plot though, as the game's still quite good. It just has common fantasy tropes that many people use. Also, suing someone on the basis that the game is similar to the original one is absolutely absurd. It's like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds attempting to sue Fortnite because they both dropped from a moving vehicle onto the map below, which, might let you guys know, actually happened. Or Call of Duty attempting to sue Battlefield because both games use guns and have team combat. Personally, I think it's just a really low IQ move on Nexon's part, and they only made those comments just to bully a smaller company into submission. Nexon also stated that it was impossible for Ironmace to develop Darkanddarker as quick as they did, and Ironmace had to have stolen property in order to get developed so quickly. In response to that claim, Ironmace posted a spreadsheet of theirs showing that most of their assets were purchased straight from the Unreal Marketplace, and Ironmace also ended their statement by saying that it would be a detriment to their game if they used any code from Nexon, which is quite the burn. Pre-made assets are there to help speed along development time by cutting out the creation of new assets so developers can focus on coding the game to make gameplay as smooth and accessible. Here are some of the assets on the Unreal store that you guys may have seen in Darkanddarker, and you can see that almost all of those assets are being used as placeholders until Darkanddarker can finalize their project. Lastly, since Nexon kept on claiming that Ironmace stole the concept from the P3 project, Ironmace went to ChatGPT, and it's actually pretty funny to see how the answer from ChatGPT proved how generic the plot and the concept of the game really is. ChatGPT came up with this. Here's a generic game description for a PvP dungeon crawling game. In this PvP dungeon crawling game, players compete against each other in dangerous and mysterious dungeons filled with traps, puzzles, and monsters. Players choose their character from a variety of classes, each with unique abilities and playstyles. They must navigate through the dungeon, fight off wave of monsters, and solve puzzles to progress deeper into the dungeon. However, in addition to battling monsters, players must also face off against each other in intense PvP combat. They can attack other players to steal their loot or gain an advantage, but they must also be careful not to get caught off guard by any enemy players. Along the way, players will collect loot, weapon, and magical items that will help them on their quest. They can also trade items with other players and buy and sell items from NPC shops. The gameplay involves strategic decision making, as players must decide when to attack other players and when to focus on advancing through the dungeon. They must also manage their resources carefully, as they have limited supply of weapons, spells, and health. The ultimate goal of the game is to reach the deepest level of the dungeon and defeat the final boss, all while outsmarting and defeating other players. This game offers an exciting and competitive experience for players who both enjoy PvE and PvP gameplay. All in all, it really sucks that Darkanddarker got removed from Steam due to what I believe to be is a false takedown notice, since the next playtest was about to come out soon, and I was really looking forward to playing the game with a few friends. I could tell that the developers of the game were passionate about what they were creating because it was such a joy to play, and I lost myself for hours whenever I hopped on to raid the dungeons. Personally, I really think that Ironmace is in the clear here, but they're going to have to deal with Nexon continuously attempting to disrupt the development process of the game. And they run the risk of running out of money fighting these false lawsuits, since Nexon is an established company that has loads of capital, while Ironmace is a small development team that can't fight us back as hard as they could due to the possible lack of funds. It still makes me smile a little bit knowing that Nexon is trying as hard as they can to eliminate Darkanddarker, and it seems like they're failing miserably. Like I said earlier, if you guys want to see the entire post, go check out the Darkanddarker subreddit. If you guys like what you heard, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you guys like this video and want to see more like it, make sure to go check out my channel and start just going through those videos. I have something that you guys may like. I do a variety of videos, and I just have a little bit of something for everybody. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.